Hey everyone. I wanted to speak to you about my plant-based to animal-based journey, and I have covered this in some previous videos, but it's really important to me, and it seems to be becoming more and more important to clients as well. Every single week, I am being contacted by people that are considering moving from plant-based to animal-based again for their health reasons. Um, and so I've wrote a blog about it, and I will link that below because it's just got some tips and hints of how to do that in the best way possible for you mentally, physically, and spiritually as well. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of go over it a little bit here as well. So, as all of you who have been here a while will know, for over 30 years I was um, vegetarian, pescatarian, vegan, raw vegan, and then going back the other way again, kind of thing. Um, and although I did recover from chronic fatigue syndrome like that, I was pescatarian when I recovered. I was already eating fish and eggs again. And I do think that made a big difference to the repair that my body was able to do. And then I stayed kind of like that for quite a long time, just eating quite a bit of fish and eggs, no dairy or anything. Or if I did eat dairy, actually on a rare occasion, it was goat or sheep dairy, but that was once in a blue moon. And then 3.5 years ago, I collapsed more than once. It happened several times, and I was rushed through a load of hospital tests and things like that. They were fantastic here, actually, in Portugal. And it turned out that I had 3 heart conditions, Hashimoto's, and other. I had thyroid nodules, and my thyroid blood counts were completely out. It was really, really out. So that was a shock to me because I considered myself a bit of a health freak. I was eating I was eating the fish and the eggs, but I was eating, loads of really what I considered really healthy foods. I didn't eat any junk food. I had all the wonderful supplements, all the wonderful superfoods. I was doing it all right. So I was shocked. And the doctors here just wanted to put me on meds, and eventually I would have to have operation because I had a heart valve prolapse as one of the, so a physical ailment. So eventually they would do an operation on that, they said. And I was not up for taking medication for the rest of my life and having an operation. And also, I'd never believe when people say that you can't recover from anything, because I was told that from CFS as well. So off I went on a little research mission, which took me down many, many rabbit holes, many of which led to that I should be eating meat, I should be eating animal proteins and fats, which of course I did not want to believe, and ignored for quite a long time. So just took more supplements and did more weird and wonderful things, and all ozone therapies and all sorts of crazy stuff, most of which that actually made me feel worse, even though it's all natural and healthy. And it kind of felt a bit like the CFS again, as in not the same symptoms, but this desperate need to heal and to try a million things. Um, and I was a bit shocked by that, because I'm a health coach, thinking I'm really healthy. I've done all these qualifications in nutrition and herbalism and tons and tons of other qualifications in various similar things. And I felt like death. So eventually, I had to really come round to the fact that it seemed to me that I had run out of resources. That a lot of people have managed to be veggies and vegans and things for 10, 15, 20 years. But every story I came across of people that had gone back to eating meat again was, after 10, 15, 20 or 30 years. I'm probably the only one I came across actually or I knew that was 30 years, that I managed that long, apart from one other friend I have actually who's vegan for longer than that. But anyway, I digress. So I realized I had probably used up all my resources, and that although I had honestly believed that I was getting every single nutrient that is possible to get from meat from plant sources, I clearly wasn't. So I decided if I was going to do this, I was going to do it right, and I was going to eat organ meats, because then I wouldn't even have to eat them so often, and they're the most nutrient dense. And I just went straight in and actually ate liver raw because I was so bad. Within a very short period of time, the collapsing stopped. The dizziness in general started to improve. My blood pressure got a little bit higher because that had also been a bit low. General aches and pains and various other things all seemed to improve. And then after about a year, I got my thyroid stuff tested again, and that had it was at a normal level. And I wasn't taking any medication for that. I was just taking desiccated thyroid supplement, which comes from beef. And my one came from beef. It usually comes from pork. So that was promising. And the antibodies for the Hashimoto had also come down quite a lot, but was still there. And I then got tested for all the heart conditions, and they were all completely gone. Even, this was after about a year and a half, even the heart valve prolapse, that was gone. They could not see it anymore, much to the confusion of my doctor. So anyway, I was eating, still not a huge amount of animal proteins and fats, but every day or two. But then I kind of stabilized, nothing got any better then for a while. Yes, the heart conditions had gone, the thyroid had got better, the Hashimoto's had got better, but they all still were there. And I still didn't feel as high energy as I had. So I increased before that, I started perimenopause, which, although I'm now 46, that was 3.5 years ago. This is still even though more and more women are going through perimenopause early, this is still not normal, or shouldn't be normal, to be going through it at this age. So that was the final push of the, getting the sweats, the flushing rather, and just feeling like I wanted to murder people quite frequently. So I decided to up my animal proteins and fats, and I did that for every meal, so that each meal was more animal proteins and fats than anything else. And within about 2.5 months, all the perimenopause symptoms are gone, and I've more recently been tested, and all my levels are normal. Like, there's no perimenopause or menopause there anymore. And when I got my bloods done again, I could reduce the thyroid supplement quite a lot. So I hardly take any of that now, and I'm hoping by the next blood test I'll be able to come off that completely. The Hashimoto's antibodies are almost completely gone. As far as the doctor's concerned, it's not there at all, but I am waiting still for it to be completely zero. Not sure if that's possible. I think everybody has a tiny bit of it, but in some way or form. But anyway, So, and yeah, my energy is through the roof. You know, it's more than I could have ever thought it would be. My brain feels switched on. I am all these weird aches and pains of aging have gone. Um, what else? Yeah, I had for at least the last 2 decades, maybe 2.5, I've had a lump in my jaw, like a cysty lump under here, and also in my breasts, and they have completely gone. I recover from exertion really quickly now, and I am really strong as well. I just, I've never done a pull up in my life, a chin up rather, not pull up. And my friend was doing them the other day, and I did one just straight off, which apparently I'm told is unusual to be able to do that, particularly for a woman. But I just did it straight up. So yeah. Anyway, so basically this has been my journey from moving from plant-based to animal-based, and I know it's not for everyone, and it was certainly really difficult for me to transition, and I had to do a lot of work with myself because I was actually giving myself headaches and making myself feel ill from the idea of eating animal protein again. But then I realized that if I kept doing that, then the animals die for nothing because I'm not uptaking the nutrients. So I really had to have a word with myself. It really helped to read Leah Keefe's Vegetarian Myth, because she's an ex-vegan as well, and she really explains very clearly and very beautifully how we are not helping our health and how we're also not helping the health of the planet by being vegetarian and vegan and anything in between. Um, and she cares deeply about the planet, and she is an environmentalist as well, when she was vegan and even still so now. So, she's trying to educate people of what we're actually doing when we choose these lifestyles, these ways of life. So yeah, that's been my journey, and I am shocked how insanely different my body feels, how the shape of it has changed, how the strength of it has changed, how I felt, but until I collapsed 3.5 years ago, I felt pretty good. I'd had years of chronic fatigue syndrome and stuff, and I was on it. I live on a farm, I'm active, that kind of thing. But now it's like Superwoman. It's crazy. So yeah, there have been times that have been difficult in the transition because I have gone through a lot of oxalate dumping. I've had a lot of histamine issues. I had a lot of bile issues, and mainly all because of all those years of being veggie and vegan first. And that's taken some time to move through it, and yeah, now I'm helping other people move through it because it seems like a lot of other people are doing that. There's a lot of people saying this is how we should live and eat, but not really understanding that if you have had a different mental, physical, spiritual way of living for all that time, then it can be challenging to transition from plant-based to animal-based on every single level. So yeah, that's why I wrote the blog that I'm linking below. That's why I'm coming on here. I've also set up a new Instagram page specifically for this, so I will put that below as well. I'm thinking about doing a YouTube channel for it as well, but really to help people that are really struggling now with potentially being long-term veggie vegan, raw vegan, in that transition to not doing that anymore. So yeah, that I'm hoping that helps people, and that helps people to get their health back, their mental, physical, and spiritual cup full again, and living how we should be, thriving in this beautiful world instead of barely surviving. So if you have any questions about that, then do let me know, and I will speak to you soon. Ciao.